Hello everyone and welcome back to another Rise of Kingdom video. This is your boy Legend Ronnie, and today I'm gonna dedicate this video for Saladin in 2022. How good is he for field fighting? How useful is he in KvK or various other aspects of the game? Is it still worth it to invest in Saladin, or better save for some of the Season of Conquest commanders? I want to answer all these questions in this video, and I'm also gonna break down Saladin in more details, because I obviously talked about Saladin in various other videos, but I never talked in details and giving more explanation about him on the field, events, and where else should be useful. Some of the many things that you probably need to know is talents only apply from the primary commander, equipment as well, so make sure you always have those things ready to go. So speaking about his talents, I can definitely go right into his talents, so let's get that out of the way. This is one of the talents tree that I have been using on Saladin, because you're always swarming targets, and I always considered Saladin as one of those commanders that is kind of anti-counterattack, because he already has on one of his skills 20% counterattack damage reduction. Now with this talent tree with the buckle shield is enhanced. There also comes the pairing that has been done for a while with Saladin and Aethelflaed. Aethelflaed has 20% counterattack reduction as well. So putting all this together, it was somewhere around 49% counterattack damage reduction. It was pretty huge. So hitting infantry or swarming rallies, swarming flags with a Saladin and Aethelflaed, it wasn't so impactful for you. Obviously you weren't doing so much damage, but you are also debuffing the target and you're doing a really good job. You have the beauty of the support tree with emergency protection. You have rejuvenate, so you make sure the cycle of skills is pretty fast. And then you have as many calf talents as possible, and probably some of the most important. Now if you're not happy with the buckler shield, the next thing that you can do is make sure you get attack, you get march speed, and then you get disarm, so you can debuff your targets further by debuffing them with attack as well. This is another talent tree that I have been using for Saladin, and as you noticed, there is counterattack. When healed, troops led by this commander will have their attack increase. Now I was using this talent tree when I was doing Takeda as a second in command to my Saladin. Takeda also provides normal attack, damage reduction, and counterattack, so I preferred to drop the buckler shield, and I preferred to get more attack, and I preferred to get the counterattack as well. So Saladin and Takeda was a well-known pair to be very strong for the field. Or for example, if you want to do Saladin and someone else that does healing, maybe Saladin and Double C, maybe Saladin and Joan, you want to do a buffing march, right? That's also very possible. Or Bertrand now also heals. And then there is various other commanders now that has a little bit of healing or has a little bit of healing proccing. So you can get the counterattack, which is 9% attack, right? It's pretty decent. And then you get the other 3% attack compared to the other 3. So you boost a little bit your damage with Saladin as well. Another question that probably a lot of you would like to hear it is about 5551 Saladin. Is it still worth it to use a 5551 Saladin? Now, when you have a non-expertise Saladin, because that's why I'm checking his expertise, when I'm going onto his primary, it shows with expertise. On his 5551, you'll have 1400 damage factor, and you'll reduce the march speed by 30%, healing effect by 40% for the next 5 seconds. So I consider Saladin always to be a very important debuffer for field fighting, specifically marches that you are swarming. Not necessarily the healing. I never considered that to be a big deal, reducing the healing on the targets, especially in Season of Conquest. Maybe in KvK 2, 3, yes, it is a big thing because there is a lot of Richards running around, but in Season of Conquest it's not. It's about the march speed. So you're swarming a target, you want to make sure that the target is as slow as possible. So 5 seconds to reduce the march speed of a target, it's a pretty big deal in my opinion. So the 5551 Saladin, in my opinion, is still a very good commander to use. If you plan to expertise him, I would do that while you are in KvK 2 and KvK 3, When you are in Season of Conquest, if you want to go from the daily special offer, because he is there, then definitely expertise him, because you won't just gain the 300 damage factor, is what most of the people see when they look at the expertise. You'll also gain a bigger debuff on the target, from 30% march speed reduction to 50% march speed reduction, which a lot of people are not really paying attention to that. But when you're swarming a target in Murder Ball and he's running away, you want to slow the target down, because of course you're not going to chase it down, you're going to retreat and you're going to select another target in a Murder Ball. But as long as you're slowing it down, then you'll be able to either eliminate it or at least reduce it even lower, get it probably on red, and then you go back and you pick another target. So Saladin is definitely helpful for many things on the battlefield as well. So going in KVK 2, if you have the opportunity to get some of the MGs for Saladin, definitely do that, and I would still highly recommend to do a 5551 Saladin, but do that in KVK 2 and KVK 3. Once you are in Season of Conquest, there is higher priorities in terms of commander. We have them over here. There's all three of them in the same spot. You have Nevsky, you have Scipio, you have Boudica. These three commanders are the #1 priority once you reach in Season of Conquest. Now, some people don't want to do archers, so if you don't want to do archers, then you have Prime Scipio and you have Alexander Nevsky. But throughout your KVK 2 and throughout your KVK 3, the two commanders that you could focus on is Saladin and Alexander. These are definitely two commanders that are still highly worth it to invest in the game. And obviously, throughout your KVK 1, you have YSG. In many of my older videos, 2 years ago videos, I'm not sure if 3 years ago, the top 3 commanders for KVK 1, 2, and 3, they were always YSG, Saladin, and Alexander. Now, if you can't expertise a Saladin, as I said, 5551 is still really good to use. And who would you put as a second to a Saladin? I already mentioned a couple of the pairs. I already mentioned that you could go with an Aethelflaed because you have the 20% counterattack damage reduction, and then you have the third skill of Saladin, skill damage reduction and counterattack damage taken reduction. Now, in my opinion, Saladin and Aethelflaed is not what they used to be. It used to be a really good debuffer. It used to be that one kind of march that people don't really focus on. Now, unfortunately, Aethelflaed now with the museum gets a 15% march speed, which kind of makes Saladin way too fast, to tell you the truth. And the damage output is not as good as it used to be. You used to do some pretty decent damage with this march. If you still want to use for debuffing purposes and you don't really care as much about the hospital builds, you're well aware that this march is only for support, Saladin and Aethelflaed, then definitely go ahead and use it. But you need to be on peace of mind that this is a support march. Now, if you want to do a little bit more damage, a very, very nice march, which I have been using for a very long time, even with a 5-5 William, for example, is William. So either you have a max skill William, where you have a 5 something 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 William, or a 5-5 or a 5-5-5-1 William. Either way, Saladin and William, it is an exceptional march. Now, of course, it comes to the march speed, which I mentioned about the Aethelflaed that is being too fast. It's on the same march speed, 15% march speed, same as Aethelflaed with the museum. But the thing is, Saladin and William does a lot more damage. So even if you take it, like even if you get smashed, at least you know you cause some damage as well with Saladin and William, at least on your primary target that you're swarming. Now, other pairs that you can do with Saladin, if you still have Takeda, Saladin and Takeda is another way to go for it. And let me just select it by CAF commanders. If you have Takeda, if you don't have Takeda, I wouldn't invest in Takeda as of right now. With the current CAF commanders that we have, Takeda is one commander that I don't recommend to be used on the field. If you have Attila, I would highly recommend to do an Attila Nevsky. If you really want to bring Attila on the field, it is kind of the only way you can still make Attila useful. If you want to bring Attila and Takeda, probably on the primary target that you're using, you will get good trades, but overall, you're not helping the Murder Ball. So Saladin and Takeda, if you really want to make use of Takeda, like I said, but not something I would bring on the field because it's not beneficial for the field. It's just a single target march. It will benefit more of Saladin if you do a Saladin and Takeda, because Saladin will debuff, will slow the target with the primary skill when you're swarming. If you want to put in with Chandragupta, for example, I would put Chandra first rather than Saladin, because Chandragupta first has the skill talent tree and the skill rotation should be a little bit faster. On top of that, Chandragupta will boost Saladin with a 40% damage, so it will make his primary skill to hit harder. Saladin and Genghis, I heard people still doing that. I'm not sure how good or how useful they are, but if you have Genghis and you want to make use of him, Saladin and Genghis can also work. Saladin and Minamoto, I also heard people doing that, and it seems to be pretty tanky, because Minamoto with the museum gets 20 or 25% defense plus attack as well. Or you could potentially do a Minamoto Saladin, because that way you have the skill talent tree and you will have a faster skill rotation, plus you will empower the primary skill of Saladin. So that's another nice way that you can go with your Saladin. If you want to do Nevsky and Saladin, or Saladin and Nevsky, that's also a really good pair. You have to test them out and you need to try them out which one works the best for you. Either you want to put Nevsky first or you want to put Saladin first to try to hide Nevsky behind him. Both way works really good. Nevsky pretty much makes any Cav commander to look really good, to tell you the truth. So either way is going to be really good, because these are two commanders that I recommend to everybody. So you work on KVK 1, 2 and 3 on your Saladin, well, more like 2 and 3, and then you reach Season of Conquest and the number one priority is Nevsky. So you already have these two commanders and you can already make a pair. Nevsky Saladin, Saladin and Nevsky. The next commander that is highly recommended to work on is William, and that's where you're trying to build two Cav March. Now after that, it's entirely up to you which other commanders you want to bring on the field, such as you want to put Mehmed, you want to do a Nevsky and Mehmed. So let's add the leadership in the mix as well, which is one commander that I have been using a lot recently as well. So you could potentially do a Nevsky and Mehmed or a Saladin and Mehmed, and then you can put your William with the other march. Even if Mehmed is not expertise from the keys by then, as long as it's 5-5 and you have the museum, then I think it's pretty solid in my opinion. Or a lot of people invest in Honda if it's one commander that you already maxed. It's also a nice pair that you can do, either Nevsky and Honda or Saladin and Honda. But I think that since we are talking about Saladin, you're probably not investing in Honda as of right now. You probably have much other higher priorities to go for. I also want to remind it in this video that the next Cav rotation should come around when I'm doing this video as of right now. So we are waiting for the leadership, which should be here in the next week or two. And after that, it's going to be the Cavs. So it's either being delayed because of the Osiris League, because right now the Osiris League is starting and they are not sure they want to introduce the new commanders right before the Osiris League start, or they want to introduce it after the Osiris League start to make sure that those commanders will not be available in Osiris League. I'm not 100% sure what is the deal, but we are supposed to get the leadership in the next week or two or so. The new Cavs should come up anytime soon, and then we will know a lot more pairings for Saladin, a lot more pairings for Nevsky, for William, potentially XY. Maybe, you never know, commanders that might rejuvenate XY and make him even better. I mean, he's already good enough. As you see, I have my best equipment on XY, but I'm just feeling a little bit iffy about him on the field. That's all. He's really great. XY and Saladin is something I tried and it's not really working, to tell you the truth. It's not working the way I want. For some reason, XY just works way better with either William or Nevsky or Mehmed. So something that does a lot of damage, a lot of AoE, fast kill. This is what XY is pretty much about. So it's not the kind of commander that you want to try to build tanky. That's also the reason why I'm doing this weapon with attack. As you see, my other Cavs have the defense weapon. I'm more in favor to put that defense weapon over attack. But when it comes to XY, I just noticed that he's kind of heavy offensive type of commander. It's not like you can build something defensive on him. And the rest of the gear is just health to try to mitigate some of the severely wounded. So this is kind of the whole deal with XY, to be honest. So he's not working with commanders that will somehow or magically give him some tankiness. It doesn't work like that. So in my opinion, Saladin is still a very solid investment for Rise of Kingdoms 5551 or max skill. But if you plan to max skill, I already said, do it from the daily special offer. Unless you're lucky enough in your KVK 2 and 3 and you got a lot of MGs. And if you only need to put like a couple of sculptures, then definitely go for it. Or wait for the daily. So I want to bring Saladin back on the field. I really miss that slow. So then do Saladin and William. And then I'll do XY and Nevsky, which kind of brings them to one of the two best pairs for field fighting, because you also have a good AoE. My other option would be to go with XY and Mehmed, so I can have XY a little bit slower, and that would work really good. I mean, I use this march and I'm very happy with the results. And after that, I could do a Nevsky and William, which is also a super solid march to have. So this is kind of my two go-to pairs, and this is the thought process that I kind of have in my mind right now about how to pair my caps for the next KVK. So let me know in the comment section below what you think. I strongly believe that as surprising as it is, some of these oldish commanders that are still very useful in the game. Of course, as more Nevsky lookalike type of commanders will be introduced, the older ones will drop and drop and drop, and at some point, maybe at some point, commanders like Saladin, like Alexander, might just go to rest. But you never know. They haven't got a museum yet, so you never know what the museum will bring. Maybe they'll just pump their damage up, so more of their defenses option might just make them real good, bring them back on the field. As of right now, they're still useful. I still like them. The three commanders that I mentioned, and the three commanders for Season of Conquest: YSG, Saladin, Alex. Then you have Nevsky, Boudica, and Scipio. 6 commanders, 6 badass commanders in my opinion. After that, it comes to William and some of the others. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. I really want to hear your thoughts regarding this. And I'll see you on the next one. This is your boy Geroni signing off. Peace out here and take care. See you on the next one, and stay safe out there, my friends.